Yeah, well, because this would be that. We all agree that if on a game that'll be one of the 5 or 6 most watched football games of the entire regular season, that what to me is a super marquee Thanksgiving game when the Lions historically have not always had a marquee Thanksgiving game. I understand it's a 10-point line, so it doesn't feel like it should be a good game, but I think it will be. I think the point spread's too big. I think that it is a little noteworthy that Dan Campbell, for all his success in Detroit, has never won on Thanksgiving. I'm sure he knows that. I think his point about Caleb Williams, I'll reiterate that in a moment. And also, last year, when the Lions were flying high, not quite as high, they had 2 losses instead of 1 going into Thanksgiving. What happened? Jared Goff's tiny hands made an appearance for the whole world to see. And it was not 1 fumble. Oh, the ball slipped out. Oh, no. That really got the game going for Green Bay. Not 1 fumble.
That should have been an incomplete pass in my book.
Well, they replayed it. Not 2 fumbles, which was this one. I'm not sure if you're going to say that he should have been down by contact. But a hat trick of fumbles, a hat trick of lost fumbles. And so I think that is bouncing around in Jared's brain. And then there is this point that Dan Campbell made, and I will reiterate. Caleb Williams, the last 2 games, that was his sample, not mine, so Wiles doesn't yell at me.
That's true.
Only Jared Goff actually has more total yards. He's playing great. The only reason that passer rating isn't higher is because it is only the 2 touchdown passes. And so I say all that to say this. The Bears are better than a 4-win team. I think they probably should have 5 wins right now, maybe 6. To say the Hail Mary, the blocked field goal, the loss in overtime, could have won any of those. 2 of their wins they could have lost. So you know what I mean? I think that you replay these first 11, they're probably 5-6 or 6-5. Everyone is going to have the Lions in a money line parlay. I think the Bears shock America and Caleb gets his first signature win. Hard to win 10 in a row, Wilds. It's hard to win 10 in a row.
Okay, let's talk about this. Oh, man, I'm trying to think of which direction do I want to even, go at this, honestly. From a more, like, Lions perspective or more, Bears perspective. But first off, it's funny to play all of these ifs. Well, the Bears could be this if this happened and that happened and this happened. Again, it's always funny for him to do that, but not do that for the other teams. Not do that for the Eagles, the Lions, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens. Like, it's just he never wants to do it for the teams that he has a clear narrative for. Right, that he's like, but like for this, it's like, hey, what about these ifs? They could be blah blah. And I'm a fan of doing that actually. That's why I talk about, hey, the Chiefs actually could have lost this game, that game, and the Eagles. Like, I'm the one that actually does that, and so I would do that for the Bears too, because I do think the Bears are a better team than what their record shows. But I'm consistent in that regard. Like I people always make fun of me anytime I talk about them. They're like, oh, I didn't know style points mattered. And it's like, you know what? If you can't understand that how you play matters a ton and not just the outcome, well, then it's like, well, then why do you even watch any of these shows actually? Like, if they don't matter, then you just care about the outcome. And then it's like, then what's there to discuss? The team either wins or loses. And if the team wins, they're better. And the team loses, they're worse. There you go. End of show. Hey, the Philadelphia Eagles won. That means they're the best team. Oh, end of show. Goodbye. Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl. They're the best team. Oh, there you go. See ya. Click. So there's always a discussion to be had. Now, listen, can the Bears beat the Lions? Yeah, I think they can. Will they? I mean, this would be a major failing for the Lions more than anything. But this idea that the Lions will struggle because it's Thanksgiving and Jared Goff and this, that, I just am, the history of it just matters so little. I mean, it really, really does. This is a completely different team. They're playing at a completely different level. They're better than they were last year. So even just comparing who they were last year doesn't matter. Honestly, this team knows who they are this year. They were learning who they were last year. So, I mean, again, can the Bears shock America and win and beat the Lions? Again, it's absolutely a possibility because I do think the Bears should be significantly better than what their record shows. I do think the Lions are a dominant team, and this is a divisional game, and the Lions are set to lose games. I don't think the Lions are just going to win every single game from this point forward and just walk in and win a Super Bowl. I don't believe that. I don't believe that for any team out there. Again, whether it's the Chiefs, the Bills, the Bears, the Eagles, whoever. So, will this be a game where they can lose? Absolutely. What I want to get ahead of on both sides of this, quite frankly, is that if the Lions win and dominate, or let's just say they win, doesn't even have to be dominant. If they win, I will effectively learn nothing about the Lions because I already think they're the top team. They're the best. They're as good as it gets, and a legitimate Super Bowl favorite. But if they lose, it's not going to be this. Oh my God! One, the Lions aren't as good as people think they are, or two, oh my God, what's wrong with the Lions? Oh my, I can't believe they lost this game. This is unbelievable. Etc., etc., etc. Like, that's not where my mind is going to go for the Detroit Lions. Because like I said, I'm not expecting this team to essentially only have one loss the entire year and win a Super Bowl. That is incredibly difficult to do. Incredibly difficult to do, as we know. And if the Bears win this game and Caleb looks great, again, I think that will also not even necessarily teach me anything new about the Bears or even Caleb Williams, because in a lot of ways, I've been waiting for some of those moments to happen. I think the deck is stacked against Caleb Williams right now, and if he plays great and beats the Lions, I will definitely be very, very impressed, but it will also more confirm kind of what I felt the potential for this team was, or how good Caleb could be. But also, if he loses, it'll also kind of confirm to me of like, well, I'm only expecting this quarterback and this team to overcome so much. Now, again, it depends on how this all unfolds. If Caleb looks like an absolute disaster and throws for 4 interceptions and looks like a complete mess and lost, then I would be like, oh, that's definitely not good. But that's why trying to predict how you're going to feel post-game, it all depends on how this game unfolds. This game ends up being 10-9 and the Lions win with a last-minute field goal. Like, I'm not going to be like, that's right, that's who the Lions are. I'm going to be like, I don't know what the heck I just watched. Kind of similar to the Lions versus Texans game. Like, again, and that game only continues to age more poorly considering how the Texans have been playing. But again, it doesn't mean that I think less of the Lions. It's just my fundamental understanding of how football and sports are played. So we're always so quick to try to like draw such these stark, very strong conclusions about teams, and often we do that when we already have our mind made up about teams. Nick wants the Chicago Bears to shock America by beating the Lions because that'll do two things. They'll be able to be like, I told you Caleb Williams is amazing. I told you this team was worthy of being able to Super Bowl. Look what they just did to the Lions. Unbelievable. Also, I told you that the Lions aren't as good. That's why I don't have them as the top team in the NFL. You know, the Chicago Bears and rookie quarterback Caleb Williams just beat them. Right? It'll reaffirm what his pre-existing beliefs of these two teams already are. And if the Lions win, again, you can still explain it in a way where it's just like, that O-line is awful for the Bears. What do you want? So it's just, it's kind of like, which direction do you want to take this? Which opinion do you want to kind of latch on to? And in a game like this, I try to just be more like, can Caleb win this game? Absolutely. He's a starting quarterback in the NFL and has shown a lot of life to him. And if we want to do the whole transitive property of congruence, essentially, if one thing is true and that thing is true, then that can be true. It's like, well, listen, the Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears almost beat the Minnesota Vikings, and the Minnesota Vikings almost beat the Detroit Lions, and boom, there you go. Therefore, the Detroit Lions could have a tough game against the Chicago Bears, right? Like that's in essence, that's adjacent to to the transitive property of congruence. And so it's one of those things where, you know, you can always get there. You can always make the argument for something happening. But again, it's like, what's the likelihood of it? And, you know, if one of your data points is that Jared Goff played poorly last Thanksgiving or something, then, you know, you don't really have a strong argument. But again, it doesn't invalidate what the conclusion could still be drawn. It just invalidates the logic of how you got there. Okay, right? Like it just doesn't always make a whole lot of sense. But yeah, this game I think can be I don't want to say a trap game for the Lions, but I just think that the Bears are undervalued. Honestly, I really, really do. But that's, to me, is what makes this game actually more exciting than normally. Because I do think that the Lions could absolutely roll the Bears. I do. I think they could absolutely just little brother the Bears. But I absolutely also can see Caleb Williams getting into a rhythm, having that offense going, and making the Lions feel uncomfortable. I absolutely see that as a possibility as well. And since the Chicago Bears got off to such a weird start, had to fire their OC and all that, it's hard to really evaluate who the Chicago Bears are as a whole. It's hard to evaluate who Caleb Williams is as a quarterback. And that's what makes this game actually really exciting, because it's like, maybe the Bears are significantly better. I think the Bears are better than what they looked like, but maybe even better than even I think. Right? Like I know who the Lions are. I am very confident who the Lions are. That's why win or lose this game, whether they win 50-0 or they lose 50-0, it won't tell me anything about the Lions, because I know how great they are. I know how great they are. The Bears, on the other hand, are just kind of like this weird Rubik's Cube where you're just kind of like, I don't know, can they be great? Are they not great? Are they still a mess? Can they not overcome some of the issues they have? You know, it's just like, that's what makes it exciting. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Chicago Bears versus the Detroit Lions? Do you think Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears are going to shock America by beating the Detroit Lions? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.